Donald Trump appears in a New York City courtroom. We'll have the latest on what we learned today about the history-making charges against the former president.
Artificial intelligence is being used more despite its controversy. We'll examine how it's affecting people's daily lives.
I'm Payton Bell, live here in Irvine at the Easter Extravaganza. Stay tuned for more.
From Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, this is Chapman News.
Good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of Chapman News. I'm Luis Avila.
And I'm Mason Lee. We begin with today's court appearance by former President Trump. Sorry, excuse us for the lighting, folks. Donald Trump today became the first former or current president to be charged with a crime. In a Manhattan courtroom just about an hour ago, Trump pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. The charges follow an investigation into hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels in the lead-up to the 2016 election. Trump has called his prosecution by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, quote, politically motivated, and on social media has claimed that the judge overseeing his case, quote, hates him. Bragg's predecessor says Trump's comments could make the case against him even stronger.
Be mindful of not committing some other criminal offense like obstruction of governmental administration, which is interfering with or by threat or otherwise the operation of government.
Trump's legal team has been gearing up for a legal fight, claiming the payments to Daniels were a personal expenditure and not a campaign expenditure.
The team will look at every potential issue that we will be able to challenge, and we will challenge it, of course.
New York City officials asked the public to remain calm during Trump's appearance in court. Both supporters and opponents of the former president gathered outside the courthouse today and were mostly peaceful. 35,000 NYPD officers are on alert along with the FBI. Chapman News reporter Juhi Doshi joins us live in studio to discuss the historic nature of this indictment. She will tell us about what the indictment could mean for the upcoming 2024 presidential election.
Juhi, what can you tell us about the charges that were unsealed by the judge today?
Thanks, Mason and Luis. Great question. Former President Donald Trump has pled not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records for his alleged role in the hush money payments. The charges are all Class E felonies, which are the lowest category of felony offense in New York and carry a maximum prison sentence of 4 years each. On his way to the courthouse, the former president posted a message on his Truth Social account that read, quote, wow, they are going to arrest me. Can't believe this is happening in America. Inside the courtroom, prosecutors raised concerns about Trump's, quote, threatening posts and their potential effect on jurors and witnesses. Trump was processed as a criminal defendant and had his fingerprints taken as well. History has certainly been made with the indictment of Donald Trump. It is the first time a former president has ever faced criminal charges. Trump has denied any wrongdoing and has defended the $130,000 he paid adult film star Stormy Daniels. Michael Cohen, who was once Trump's attorney, admitted to paying Daniels to stop her from going public about the alleged affair before the 2016 election. This indictment, however, is just one of many investigations Trump is facing and comes in the early stages of the 2024 presidential race. Trump's presidential campaign team says it raised now more than $7 million within 48 hours after the indictment was announced. Trump, who was impeached twice while in office, announced last fall he is once again running for president. His newest challenger, former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, says Trump should drop out of the race, partly because his legal matters will be seen as a distraction.
And so it is a concern for, as I call the body politic, that we're going to have this difficulty, this challenge, this crisis that he faces throughout the election seasons.
Republicans such as former Vice President Mike Pence and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis have blasted what they see as a political persecution of Trump, and GOP officials warned that the indictment sets a dangerous precedent.
Now he turns around purely for political purposes and indicts a former president on misdemeanor offenses that they're straining to try to convert into felonies. That is when you know that the law has been weaponized for political purposes. That is when you know that the left is using that to target their political opponents.
Stormy Daniels, who's at the center of this case, has described Donald Trump's indictment as, quote, monumental and epic in an interview with the Times of London. Daniels also says she has faced numerous death threats.
I get in these moments where I get emotional and I'm like, I wish I had never done this. This is so stupid. But I'd still do the same thing because it was the right thing to do.
According to a CNN poll, 62% of Americans approve of Trump being indicted, and about 3/4 say that politics played at least some role in the decision. And that's the latest on the indictment of former President Donald Trump. I'm Juhi Doshi reporting for Chapman News. Back to you.
Thanks, Juhi. Meanwhile, here in Orange County, the city of Irvine is planning to shut down a controversial asphalt plant, but some residents still have concerns. I went to Irvine to learn more. The city announced in February it will buy and shut down the All-American asphalt plant. The city previously conducted air testing and filed a public nuisance lawsuit against the plant in 2020. In a statement, Irvine Mayor Farah Khan says the city is working to improve residents' health, and that, quote, the purchase and revitalization of All-American Asphalt is a major milestone in continuing this mission. The 30-year-old plant is located on Jeffrey Road. Neighbors who live about 1 mile from the plant have complained for years about foul odors and potential health hazards. The city plans to convert the roughly 10-acre plant into a nature preserve called the Gateway Preserve. The city says the preserve will feature an amphitheater, playgrounds, and hiking trails like this one. However, some residents still have concerns. Irvine resident Kevin Line says he worries the land could be contaminated.
It's been there since 1993, so you're talking about decades of pollutants going into the soil. Every time it rains, the pollutants go into the soil and into the water reservoir.
The Orange County Register reports Irvine expects to reach a deal with the plant owners this month.
Artificial intelligence continues to evolve and is increasingly being incorporated into our daily lives. But at what cost? Chapman News reporter Megan Sun has more.
The increasing capabilities of AI software aids users with everything from simple tasks like fact-checking to complex requests such as writing code. AI has the potential to improve efficiency and productivity in various industries, but some experts are concerned it could lead to job loss and also the ethical questions about using AI in decision-making processes. Scholars and educators are also addressing the use of AI-powered chatbots such as ChatGPT.
It's impractical. You do everything entirely rely on this AI. We need to just treat it as a tool.
Chapman University student Isabella Miller thinks the use of AI by students says something about the education system.
So much of our school system is already broken that I don't blame people for wanting to speed up the process of getting it over with. Using it as a framework and then creating your own thing inspired by it can be academically nourishing.
Many school systems are cracking down on AI use because of academic integrity issues. But beyond education, AI has infiltrated all aspects of life, from home thermostats to your car's GPS.
We need to think about how to embrace AI and how to use the AI to help or improve our daily life to become everybody's responsibilities.
Prioritizing ethics and staying informed about the development and use of AI systems like ChatGPT is crucial as it continues to advance. For Chapman News, I'm Megan Sun, and what you just heard was written by ChatGPT.
Italy recently became the first Western country to ban ChatGPT. According to Reuters, this has inspired other European countries to assess whether theirs needs to be stricter regulations on the use of chatbots. Now, you might have noticed the weather has been a little more intense recently.
And weather experts agree. Brady Grustis is here with more. Brady?
Thanks, Mason and Louise. You are certainly correct. Experts say that the United States leads the world in weather catastrophes. A variety of disasters hit the U.S. every year. Climate and weather experts say that people in the U.S. are so consistently hurt by this weather because of three main factors: climate change, vulnerable infrastructure, and geographical location. Specifically, the U.S. is one of the only places in the world where cool, dry air from mountain ranges mixes with warm, moist air from the ocean and creates nasty, dangerous storms. We saw those same storms hit huge areas of the country this past weekend. Stay tuned for that story and your weekly weather forecast.
Coming up on Chapman News, more controversy for the new conservative majority on a local school board. Find out more after the break.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is. Paw?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things. But all of them are pure love.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
The culture wars have made their way to Orange County via the Orange Unified School Board. Politically, the school district is typically purple, but there has been some controversy since early January after the newly elected conservative board majority fired the superintendent without any explanation. The board also placed the assistant superintendent on leave. The public only received 24 hours notice, and the superintendents were traveling at that time for winter break. Some parents were outraged by the lack of transparency and spoke out at a meeting in January.
I have never been shaking this hard standing at a microphone. What you have done is betray the trust of the people that put you in.
2 lawsuits have been filed alleging that the board has violated state open meeting laws. Some parents are trying to recall the board members. Right now, an interim superintendent is serving, and it is unclear when a new school leader will be hired.
As you might know, all the recent rain has caused many problems here in Southern California, but there is at least one positive outcome. The Metropolitan Water District of California has lifted mandatory water restrictions that have been in place since June 2022 due to severe drought conditions.
The restrictions primarily included limiting outdoor watering. While the restrictions have been eased, Californians are still urged to conserve their water usage. It seems like, speaking of water, it seems like we might finally be out of that wet weather.
It sure feels nice walking into the studio dry for a change. So Brady, tell us about the weather this week.
Thanks, Mason and Luis. As you guys mentioned, top story today, deadly tornadoes hitting the Midwest and south of the United States this past week, killing 32 people and causing lots of damage to homes and communities across the country. Specifically affected areas, as you can see here in Illinois, down south in Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, and even on the East Coast, all the way over in Delaware being hit by tornadoes. These tornadoes are expected to also bring some severe thunderstorms expected to hit this range today, as far down south as Dallas and as far north as Minnesota and Wisconsin. That storm front is expected to move eastward tomorrow, hitting Louisiana all the way up north to Toronto. Right here in Orange, 65 degrees and sunny. The West Coast relatively unaffected by this round of storms, as we can see here in our national weather forecast. 53 degrees and cloudy in San Francisco, also cloudy in Seattle at 46. Las Vegas with some clouds as well at 54. Pretty cold, but not quite as cold as Denver. 32 degrees and snowy and very, very windy in Colorado there. Down south in Austin, 87 degrees despite the clouds there. Up in Minneapolis, more bad weather there. 37 degrees with a mix of rain, sleet, and snow throughout the day. As I mentioned previously, Chicago, one of the areas seriously affected by those severe thunderstorms today, 58 degrees in the Windy City. Down in Atlanta, 78 degrees and cloudy, Few less clouds down in Miami, partial cover and 84 degrees there. 80 degrees and sunny in Washington, D.C. and in Storrs, Connecticut. 67 degrees and cloudy. What's Storrs, Connecticut, you may be asking? None other than the home of the Yukon Huskies, the recent national championship winners and my favorite basketball team. Go Huskies. Moving on to our Orange County forecast, we've got higher temps inland, 64 degrees Westminster, 65 in Orange, and 64 in Irvine, 61 degrees in Newport Beach. And as you go further south, you get a little bit colder, 59 degrees in Laguna Beach and San Clemente, and 60 in Mission Viejo. Moving on to our 5-day Fenestra forecast. As you can see here, a lot of sun throughout this week and gradually rising temperatures. Today, we've got a high of 65 degrees, 70 degrees tomorrow. But take a look at these low temps. Still in the 40s, so it's still going to be pretty cold at night. Moving into Thursday, we've got 76 degrees despite the clouds. And then this weekend, we've got highs of 71 degrees on Friday, 73 degrees on Saturday. But once again, let's look at these low temps up into the 50s now. We're getting into April, so as we go forward, expect the night times to get a little bit warmer. That's all the weather news from me this week. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Brady. In other climate-related news, the Biden administration recently approved the controversial Willow Project, which climate activists argue is an environmental disaster waiting to happen. Our reporter Ana Sofia Acosta explains what went into the approval of the project.
The Willow Project is located on Alaska's northern slope in the National Petroleum Reserve. The site is nearly 500 acres. It's expected the oil drilling would produce 180,000 barrels per day, generate up to $17 billion in new revenue for the federal government, and create 300 permanent jobs.
It will help residents across our state in every school, public safety, public transportation. It will help the nation.
Many environmentalists say President Biden's support of the project is a betrayal of his campaign promise to stop oil drilling on public lands. But Biden says he was able to scale down the project even with leases ConocoPhillips had owned since the 90s.
The better gamble and a hell of a trade-off to have the Arctic Ocean, the Bering Sea, and so many other places off limits forever now.
Earth Justice, a nonprofit environmental law organization, filed a lawsuit to stop the drilling project. The lawsuit says the Willow Project will result in a loss of habitats for birds, fish, caribou, and other Arctic animals. The group's biggest concern, though, is the more than 270 million tons of carbon emissions that would be released. Interior Secretary Deb Haaland, the first Native American cabinet member, faces heavy criticism for not stopping the project.
Third is the Willow Project, which is a difficult and complex issue that was inherited.
Haaland was against the Willow Project when she served in Congress. 2 years later, she has not publicly stated her personal views on the matter. Haaland was not involved in the announcement nor signed the approval order that greenlit the project. That was handled by one of her staff members. This is Ana Sofia Acosta reporting for Chapman News.
While Alaskans are split on the decision, the mayor of Nuiqsut, the city closest to the site, opposes the project and worries about the impacts on caribou and her residents' change in lifestyles.
For the first time, the medication that reverses an opioid overdose will be available without a prescription. The Federal Drug Administration recently approved over-the-counter sales of a Narcan nasal spray. Advocates say making Narcan more readily available will help control the nationwide overdose crisis. Americans will be able to buy the nasal spray in convenience stores, gas stations, vending machines, or even online. The price is not known yet. There are more than 100,000 drug overdose-related deaths each year in the U.S., and the majority of those fatalities have been tied to synthetic opioids like fentanyl.
In other news, as interest rates continue to climb, the number of homes sold is doing just the opposite. The Orange County Register reports in January, home sales in OC and Los Angeles County were the lowest on record. Economist Stephen Thomas says the higher interest rates are stopping people from selling their homes.
If somebody was to sell and to move up, now they're trading their low interest rate and they're going into a larger home and now it has a bigger interest rate. The payment differential is like the Grand Canyon.
Thomas says the number of homes for sale in February was 40% less than before the pandemic. Higher interest rates can also affect what home buyers can afford. Realtor.com says raising the rate on a loan from roughly 6 to 7% can add up to nearly $80,000 extra on a roughly $400,000 mortgage. Stephen Thomas also says the slow sales of homes reflects a jobs market that is still adding too many jobs and driving up inflation.
You might soon find your mornings here in the city of Orange just a little bit quieter. The City Council voted last month to limit the volume of gas leaf blowers from 70 decibels to 65 decibels. Orange resident Jeremy Livermore told the council loud leaf blowers cause stress.
When 5 feet away, one is exposed to 95 decibels. This is louder than a fruit blender right up to the ear.
5 decibel reduction will make leaf blowers roughly 1.4 times quieter. City staff say new equipment and training will be needed to enforce the change.
Here at Chapman University, several campus organizations are speaking out against the Student Government Association. Recently, Chapman's Computer Science Club posted an open letter on social media expressing frustration with the student government leaders' lack of availability and funding transparency. While Chapman Sports Broadcast Network, or CSBN, did not sign the letter, Treasurer Ben Sherman says they are experiencing the same funding issues.
Roughly, we're probably facing somewhere between $1,000 and $5,000 of debt, and maybe 10% of that has been paid back over the last 7 months. When you request money back, they actually, on the form it says, when would you like this check by? And I usually just put 10 days from the request, it's a pretty standard period of time. And 10 days has turned into 10 weeks, that has turned into, if we don't get paid back soon, could be 10 months.
When we have to go through multiple parties for reimbursement, that also prolongs the reimbursement process there. We do have a full-time staff member dedicated now to handling financial processes, and we are very excited to have that position because we think it will really help us.
The student groups that signed the open letter are calling for a more timely response and detailed outline of funding allocations. The clubs say they hope that will, quote, allow organizations to better provide resources and interesting events to the student body, end quote. Clubs such as CSBN are still waiting for their money. Student government leaders say the groups need to communicate with them in order for the issues to be resolved.
If you're looking for a little family fun this week, you might want to check out Irvine's Easter Extravaganza. Stay tuned for more.
I'm Amani Wright. Coming up on the Best Campus Sports Show, I'll be giving you all the madness from the NCAA Basketball Championships, plus more about California Baptist Women's Basketball and Chapman Track and Field. Stay tuned.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for help with food, healthcare, and other resources.
211, how can I help you?
Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211, get connected, get help.
Lyric Opera of Orange County continues its current season with its most recent production featuring local actors, an orchestra, and high school performers from here in OC. The opera company presented its modern French take of Romeo and Juliet at the Barclay Theater in Irvine. President Diana Farrell notes Lyric is the only opera company in Orange County.
Said, it's time to bring opera back to Orange County. Let's do it. And I had just enough experience in kind of all aspects of theatrical work and opera to be dangerous. And I thought, why not? What's the worst that could happen? And here.
Farrell says one of Lyric's goals is to introduce opera to those who have not yet experienced it. She also hopes to bring opera performances to schools. Lyric Opera's next production will be La Traviata in June.
It's April, and you know what that means? March Madness has come to an end.
Imani Wright has more on the historic results and reactions. Imani?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Best Campus Sports Show. I'm Imani Wright. The madness has come to an end, and national champions have been crowned for both men's and women's college basketball. Starting off with the action on Sunday was LSU and Iowa's women's teams facing off in a record-breaking matchup. The Tigers ultimately came out on top, beating the Hawkeyes 102-85 to secure their first ever championship in school history. The team broke the scoring record for most points scored in a national championship game and had a record-breaking viewership at 9.9 million people watching the matchup. Social media was in a frenzy not only over the game, but over the drama between LSU's Angel Reese and Iowa's Caitlin Clark. Reese was seen pointing at her ring finger before the end of the game in Caitlin Clark's line of vision. Reese was met with scrutiny on social media over the gesture, but many came to her defense, saying that it's just a part of the competitive nature of the game. And Clark stated today on ESPN that she doesn't think that Angel should be criticized at all, actually, for those actions. Moving on to the men's side, the UConn Huskies defeated the SDSU Aztecs in a matchup without a #1 seed for the first time since 2011. The Huskies were led by Tristan Newton, who had a double-double with 19 points and 10 rebounds, along with a Final Four most outstanding player, Adam Sanago, scoring 17 points and 10 rebounds. This is UConn's 5th national championship in school history. Staying in the championship spirit, California Baptist University women's basketball team recently won the Women's Basketball Invitational. The team defeated New Mexico State in a close matchup, 63-61. The program has made a lot of strides, jumping from NAIA to now being a successful NCAA Division I team. I got a chance to speak with head coach Jared Olson about their win and their continued success.
I've been at CBU, this is my 11th year, and actually when I first started here, we were going from NAIA to Division II, and then we went from Division II to Division I. So it's been a lot of change and a lot of growth along the way, which has been quite a challenge. But at the same time, like you said, when we do find the successes that we do, it's pretty rewarding. So that's been a lot of fun.
Coach Olson also stated that the squad will be bringing back 2 of their star players, Trinity San Antonio and Grace Schmidt. I'm most definitely looking forward to catching those 2 and the whole team in action next season. The Chapman track and field team, who had another school record broken at their second conference meet this past weekend. McKenna Lazarde broke the school record set by her teammate Zoe Zaraski in her 100-meter dash with a time of 12.39 seconds. And this has been the Best Campus Sports Show. I'm Amani Wright. Back to you at the desk.
Easter is right around the corner, and local communities are celebrating all week long.
Let's hop on over to Irvine, where Chapman News reporter Payton Bell is at the Easter Extravaganza. Payton?
Thanks, Luis and Mason. This family-friendly event has so many activities for the little ones, including face painting, cookie decorating, an awesome little train ride, and of course, my favorite, the bouncy house. I literally might have to get on that after this. Admission to the event is free. However, there is a $7 activity ticket, and of course, the coveted photo with the Easter Bunny is $15. The event's website suggests getting here a little bit early to get that parking spot, get those tickets, and of course avoid crowds. It is a Tuesday afternoon right now, and it is packed. People are having a really great time. I'm a little bit jealous. I might need to go join them. It was a really good time. Of course, the event, however, does end on Saturday, so you need to make sure to get there before it ends. So live for Chapman News here in Irvine, I'm Payton Bell.
Thanks, Peyton. While Christians celebrate Easter this weekend, other major religion observations include Ramadan, and with Muslims marking a month of fasting and prayer.
As well as the 8 days of Passover, as the Jewish community celebrates the biblical story of the Israelites' escape from slavery in Egypt.
I'm Jalea Gillums. For National Stress Awareness Month, I sat down with some experts for some sweet tips and tricks to help lower the impact stress has on your life and what you can do to manage it. Up next on Jalea's Juice.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So, yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Cal State Fullerton is spending $65 million to improve its art complex. The project is state funded. The university is adding 2 new buildings to the complex, as well as renovating the existing buildings. The old complex was designed for 1,100 students max. Today, the College of the Arts has nearly 2,100 students. One of the new buildings will include 4 art galleries, with 3 reserved for student work.
In other news, it's been 2 years in the making, and now the new Sandy Simon Dance Center has opened here at Chapman University. It was recognized by the California Preservation Society and recently won the 2023 Preservation Design Award for rehabilitation. As Danielle Burke-North reports, dance students and instructors love the new space, but some students are raising questions about who has access to the center.
The new 3-story space includes 6 studios, classrooms overlooking dance rooms, and a physical therapy lab.
I feel like the facilities that we have now finally match the rigor of our curriculum here at the dance department.
Dance major Haley Drees is president of the Chapman Stilettos Dance Club. She is using the new space for evening practices.
I think as a dance major, I just have greater access to the resources that we have within the dance community, especially in this building. But I feel like now that we have a bigger space, people will be able to utilize it in the future, which will help build the community for sure.
Yet, not every dance group has access. The Stilettos can use the space because they are affiliated with the College of Performing Arts. But other dance groups not affiliated with an academic program find they are shut out. Ariana De Leon, president of the Floor 13 Hip Hop Dance Club on campus, says they've been trying to rehearse in the dance building for years, but keep being turned away.
Floor 13 has been in contact with the heads of the dance department and other professors there, and they are very adamantly against us using their facilities for our practice times. It feels a little bit unfair knowing that these dance groups that have a lot of dance majors or are just like COPA affiliated have priority access to the new space, but I feel like dance should be an art form that is accessible to everybody.
I spoke with head of the dance department, Julianne O'Brien, who shared that the center does not hold practices past 10 p.m. and that the large size of the group Floor 13 is a fire hazard. I'm Danielle Burke-North, reporting for Chapman News.
Additionally, would like to note that reporter Danielle Burke-North is a member of the Floor 13 dance team mentioned in the story.
Feeling thirsty for some de-stressing tips?
Jalea Gillums has got you covered on Jalea's Juice. Take it away, Jalea.
Hey guys, it's Jalea, and welcome to Jalea's Juice, where I serve you the news a little bit sweeter. One of the main causes of stress are work-related pressures. Long hours, tight deadlines, and demanding bosses can all contribute to stress. According to the American Psychological Association, chronic stress can lead to a variety of health problems, including anxiety, depression, and even heart disease. However, stress coordinator and yoga instructor Mallory Matsume has some ways to manage stress.
One of the things that I've taught a lot about and we teach a lot about in yoga is diaphragmatic breathing. So it's a technique where you inhale and you expand your diaphragm. It basically makes your belly bigger. So you inhale and your belly rises, and then you exhale, your belly decreases. So that's also a scientifically proven method of breathing that helps decrease the stress. Maybe another technique that could work for you is moving, just getting up and going for a walk, taking 10-minute breaks. In my corporate job, we really like to encourage stretch breaks or taking really intentional designated breaks from your workstation, from your desk, from your computer, to step away and
Let's try out some diaphragmatic breathing together. Ready? In for 3, out for 3. Next, a study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that both dance and yoga can significantly reduce stress levels. Participants who took part in dance classes or yoga sessions reported feeling less anxious and more relaxed. The study also found that the effects of dance and yoga were long-lasting. Participants who continued to take part in these activities over time reported sustained reduction in stress levels.
Kaylin Cradle and Sophia Pizzuti are dance majors who have experienced this firsthand. They recommend
even taking like dance fitness classes on campus. Those are always a good way just to let loose and have a good time. That really helps my stress.
Yeah, I feel like dance is a great way to just like get out your emotions, like anything that's been stressing you out. It's just like a physical outlet.
And even if you're not a dance major, they say you can
let loose, have fun. Like it doesn't matter like what it looks like as long as it like feels good to you.
And now it's time to juice it up and squeeze out some stress. I'm gonna bring out our resident dancer, Danielle Burke-North, and she's gonna teach us some moves. Come on out, Danielle, let's do this.
All right, I have 4 moves for you. Ready?
Yes.
All right, our first one, you go to the right, raise the roof, go to the left, raise the roof.
Okay, that's pretty easy I don't have any rhythm, and if I don't, you guys can do it too.
We have our second move, all right?
Okay.
You step forward, round your arms as you step together, step forward, round your arms again.
Okay.
Now, make it more complex. You can look to the back, then step together, look to the back again. Exactly, a little willow moment. Exactly. All right, our third move, we're halfway done.
Okay.
You're gonna point to the right, flick something away, point to the left, flick something away.
So flick the stress.
Exactly.
Flick the stress.
Exactly.
Stress.
All right, our fourth and our final move, a little TikTok magic.
Okay.
So you go to the front, push your arms away from your body, and throw. Push it front, throw away, and then cross. All right, should we add it all together?
I think I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Here we go.
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Throw that stress,
and
throw that stress. Front side throw, front side throw. And you're a pro. There you go.
See, I'm already less stressed, even though I messed it up. And thank you guys for moving and grooving with us today. And thank you, Danielle, for helping us out. I'm Julia Gillums, and that's it for all the juice that we have today, Panthers. Stay tuned next week for something a little bit sweet. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Julia. I'll be practicing those dance moves later today. Well, that's it for us this week. Be sure to check us out on our YouTube page at chapmannews.tv and make sure to follow us at Chapman News. I'm Luis Avila.
And I'm Mason Lee. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.